Of searches underway in Texas for a man who shot and killed 5 of his neighbors, including an 8-year-old boy and a teenage girl.
As ABC's Zareen Shah reports, the deadly encounter all started with the family asking him to stop firing rounds in his yard because they were trying to sleep.
Tragedy unfolded Friday evening. 5 people killed, including an 8-year-old child, when a gunman.
Hello and welcome to Crime Time with the Easy E. Yes, the King, where we turn criminals into the roaches that they are and then stomp on them or make them disappear. Shit. Okay. Now, awkward pause as I try to recover and pretend that didn't happen. Anywho, Texas manhunt ends with arrest of man accused of killing 5 neighbors. Officials had been searching for Francisco Oropesa, 38, since Friday night when he allegedly shot his neighbors in Cleveland, Texas, after one asked him to stop firing rounds in his yard. The man accused of killing 5 of his neighbors with an AR-15 rifle in their Texas home was apprehended by law enforcement agents Tuesday. Francisco Oropesa, 38, was arrested Tuesday evening in cut and shot by members of a task force. The sheriff in Montgomery County said he was arrested without incident around 7 p.m. San Jacinto County District Attorney Todd Dillon had initially said authorities are awaiting fingerprints to confirm the person arrested is Oropesa. Oropesa was being held in the Montgomery County Jail on a murder charge. The arrest brings an end to the sprawling search that involved more than 250 law enforcement officers, the FBI, and a reward of $80,000 for information. The arrest comes 4 days after Oropesa went to his neighbor's home in the Trails End area in Cleveland, about 45 miles north of Houston, and opened fire. Oropesa started shooting after one complained that gunfire coming from his adjacent property were keeping an infant from sleeping. Wilson Garcia's wife asked him to go to Oropesa's residence and ask if he would stop shooting or move the gunfire. The request didn't seem unreasonable, Garcia said, as they'd been on good terms with Oropesa. So we went and told the man to please stop shooting or go continue shooting further away from the house. But he answered by saying he was in his property and could do whatever he wants. Garcia told NBC News, "I said, okay, that's fine. It's your property, but could you please move further away or turn it down? That's all," Garcia said. Then he began insulting us, and we told him we were calling the cops. The victims, all believed to be from Honduras, have been identified as 9-year-old Daniel Enrique Lasso, Sonia Argentina Guzman, 25, Diana Velasquez Alvarado, 21, Julissa Molina Rivera, 31, and Jose Jonathan Casares, 18. Garcia has identified Lasso as his son and Guzman as his wife and the child's mother. Officials said the 4 adult victims were pronounced dead at the scene, and the 9-year-old died at a hospital. 3 other children were found in the home and may have been saved by 2 women who draped their bodies over them. The sheriff said that he believed 15 rounds were fired in the attack. Cut and Shoot, where the person was arrested Tuesday, is a community of around 1,000 just east of Conroe, around 16 miles west of the Cleveland area where the killings took place. The apprehension comes 2 days after investigators said they had been running into dead ends with 0 leads. The FBI said Tuesday that law enforcement was analyzing hundreds of pieces of information from all over, and digital billboards in the Houston area showed Oropesa and the reward. There had been plans to expand the billboard statewide. It's not immediately clear how Oropesa eluded police for days. Searchers on Saturday found the suspect's cell phone and some of his clothing, but scent-tracking dogs eventually lost his trail. Capers also said that authorities seized the rifle used in the attack, but that the suspect may have still been armed with a handgun. Gov. Greg Abbott said in a news conference Sunday that the gunman had been deported from the U.S. 4 times and was back in Texas illegally. Oropesa's wife filed a protective order against him in 2022 alleging he beat her. She said he was drunk and hit her with a closed fist, kicked her on the floor and threatened her. His wife told authorities last year that Oropesa was staying with a sister in Conroe. Conroe is around 6 miles from Cut and Shoot, but there was no information that there was any connection to Tuesday's arrest. A host of agencies assisted in the search for Oropesa, including FBI Houston, the U.S. Marshals Service, the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force, Texas Department of Public Safety, and the Texas Rangers. Check out these videos.
Suspect has been known to shoot his AR-15 style 223 out in the front yard, and that's evidenced by the amount of casings that we found in his front yard. My understanding is that the victims they came over to the fence, said, "Hey, do you mind not shooting out in the yard? We have a young baby that's trying to go to sleep, and he had been drinking." And he says, "I'll do what I want to in my front yard." 2 of the juveniles were found up underneath 2 of the deceased women that were in the bedroom. In my opinion, they were actually trying to take care of them babies and keep them babies.
Certainly a tragic situation out here. We're joined here with San Jacinto County Sheriff Greg Capers. Sir, what can you tell us about what's going on out here?
Well, there was a mass shooting early this morning, about 11:31. We received a phone call in reference to people, there's shooting going on, harassment, and we arrived, found 4 people deceased inside the house. We life flighted a 8-year-old boy to a hospital, and he has since been pronounced deceased at the hospital.
And what do you know about this suspect? I hear you're still looking for him right now.
We are, and we're getting closer to him every minute of every hour, but we know who he is. He is from Mexico. The victims themselves were from the Honduras.
And neighbors you're mentioning, they live right next door to each other. Do you know anything about why this may have happened, or what the motive was for this kind of thing?
The only thing I can tell you right now, and then mind that this is still early in the investigation, one of the victims came out of the house and said, "Hey, we have a small baby that's trying to sleep," and the man said, "I'll shoot out in my front yard, do what I want to in my own residence."
Wow. And as far as you don't believe the suspect's here right now, but what should folks be aware of this morning as you continue to look for this guy who is armed at this point?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we're not sure if he's armed or not. We know that he shot a 223, which is AR-15 style weapon, and we know him to be about 10 to 12 miles away from here at this particular time.
Okay, you got a lot of folks looking for him?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
And you said the victim as young as 8 years old. What about the others, adults, other children?
There's one that's possibly 14 to 16 years old. We're unsure about the age, but the others 20 to 30, 40 years old.
Lots of searches underway in Texas for a man who shot and killed 5 of his neighbors, including an 8-year-old boy and a teenage girl.
As ABC's Zareen Shah reports, the deadly encounter all started with the family asking him to stop firing rounds in his yard because they were trying to sleep.
Tragedy unfolded Friday evening. 5 people killed, including an 8-year-old child, when a gunman opened fire inside a home in Cleveland, Texas, just outside Houston. Deputies were dispatched to a residence about a harassment complaint. When en route, multiple 911 calls came in of an active shooter at the location. When deputies arrived, they found several victims ranging in age from 8 to 40 years old. 4 were dead. The 8-year-old died at the hospital. All of them had been shot. Investigators said they believe the suspect, identified as 39-year-old Francisco Oropesa, was intoxicated and began shooting an AR-15 on his front porch when a neighbor asked him to be quiet.
A gentleman stepped out of his house, said, "Hey, we're trying to keep an infant to bed," and he says it's his property. He'll do whatever he pleases on his property. The man went back in the house. Next thing they know, he's walking up the driveway with the rifle in hand.
San Jacinto County Sheriff Greg Capers told ABC affiliate KTRK it appeared some of the victims were trying to shield the children. Police found 2 dead bodies atop harmed victims who were covered in blood. The sheriff says investigators have video of the suspect walking up to the house, which is how they identified Oropesa. Veronica Pineda lives nearby. She says there are always guns being fired in the neighborhood, so she thought nothing of it when she heard the gunshots Friday night.
There's always shootings everywhere. This neighborhood, they're always shooting. So yesterday I heard the shooting, but I thought it was like a normal day.
A judge issued an arrest warrant for the suspect and assigned a $5 million bond.
We do not know where he is. We don't have any tips right now to where he may be. And that's why we've come up with this reward, so that hopefully somebody out there can call us. Pretty much can guarantee you he's contacted some of his friends. We just don't know what friends they are. And that's what we need from the public, is any type of information, because right now we're running into dead ends.
Manhunt for the suspect accused of killing 5, including a 9-year-old boy in Cleveland, Texas, continues this morning.
Right now, we're running into dead ends. Right now, we have 0 leads.
More than 200 members of various law enforcement agencies are searching for Francisco Oropesa, the alleged 38-year-old gunman who the FBI says is armed and dangerous. The shooting happened Friday night after the father and husband of 2 of the victims, Wilson Garcia, says that he, along with 2 other men, approached Francisco Oropesa and asked him to stop shooting his weapon so close to their property because their baby was sleeping. Garcia says they called 911 5 times to report Oropesa shooting his gun. The suspect then allegedly approached the house with his rifle about 10 to 20 minutes after the encounter. From there, the home turned into a scene of carnage that left 4 adults and Garcia's 9-year-old son, Daniel, all shot dead. Garcia's wife, Sonia Argentina Guzman, was killed first, just outside the front door.
I'm trying to be strong for my children because my daughter already more or less understood. It's very difficult when she comes and she starts asking about her mom and then about her brother.
An 18-year-old was also killed, and 2 women who were also shot and killed while protecting the children who survived the massacre, authorities say.
The 3 children that we loaded that night and put in the ambulance, they were covered in blood from the same ladies that were laying on top of them trying to protect them.
Garcia says one of the women who was killed urged him to flee out of the window so his 2 other children would not lose both of their parents that night.
That was my 9-year-old son and my wife too, and 2 people who died protecting my 2.5-year-old daughter. My 1.5-month-old son was protected with a lot of clothes so the killer wouldn't kill him too.
A vigil was held Sunday for 9-year-old Daniel at his elementary school. Supporters sang Amazing Grace in Daniel's honor as his father was seen crying. And Poppy, late Saturday night, investigators were saying that they had found the suspect's clothing and a cell phone that had been discarded. They also said they believe that the suspect has communicated with friends a couple of times. Whether or not that has continued, we don't know at this point. But they are saying this morning and yesterday afternoon that the trail has gone cold. They can't really say if they believe he's still in the area or perhaps somewhere else in the state.
Do they know if he's still in the U.S., Ed? I guess they don't know.
I mean, they don't. I mean, right? They don't. They're saying that they just, they can't make any assumptions. But clearly, this suspect is a Mexican national, so there is concern that perhaps he would be trying to make his way back to Mexico. But he's, unless he has help in terms of driving and that sort of thing, if he's on foot, heavily wooded areas, it's places where it could take some time to find someone like this. There was a similar manhunt last year, and it took several weeks to find an inmate that had escaped from a prison in this area. So it could take time.
Sheriff Greg Caper, San Jacinto County Sheriff's Office, with great news. The suspect is in custody. I have just left Montgomery County Jail, where he was taken, and he has been magistrated. He now will be taken to my jail, and where his new residence will be. I would like to thank the men behind me and the women behind me. They're not women here right now, but everybody played a very, very integral part in the arrest and capture of this coward. Everybody behind me has worked tirelessly. I know that there are several people out of these 225 plus officers at this scene, not to include the millions of people, thanks to the media. Y'all push the message out. But we've had calls from Wyoming, Florida, South Texas, North Texas, Oklahoma, Maryland, and those are just a few of the places. We were here, they were there. Bottom line is, we now have this man in custody. He was caught hiding in a closet underneath some laundry. They effectively made the arrest. He is uninjured, and he is currently being taken to my facility in Cold Springs. Thank you.
Can you tell us how you guys were able to find him? What clues led you to him?
Well, it was a multi-jurisdictional operation, to say the least. Somebody got a tip, DPS CID, U.S. Marshals, FBI. We had a TAC team. They all meandered over there and found that tip to be true.
Was this home a relative's home? Did you know where he was?
That's unknown to me. Maybe one of these guys behind me can speak to the actual information on how he was actually captured.
Sheriff, what's your message to the family members, the surviving family members of those people who were killed in this attack?
Well, they can rest easy now, because he is behind bars, and he will live out his life behind bars for killing those 5.
Guys, we have time for questions afterwards.
This is the ASAC. This is the ASAC.
Hey, good evening. Thank you, Sheriff Capers. My name is Jimmy Paul. I'm an Assistant Special Agent in charge with the FBI Houston Division. Thanks for having me. So, just wanted to say, first and foremost, the victims and their families are in the forefront of our minds, and we're extremely delighted that the suspect was captured. The tip for the suspect's location came in through the FBI's tip line, and we just want to thank the person who had the courage and bravery to call in the suspect's location.
Special Agent Ted Williams, Fox News. Do you know if this individual will be facing federal charges?
Currently, it's an ongoing investigation, and he's being charged by the San Jacinto County Sheriff's Office. Sir, it's an ongoing investigation. I can't comment on that at this point.
Hey guys, we're gonna let him get through his statement in the U.S. Marshals, and afterwards we'll take questions.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to thank the person who had the courage to call in the tip, and also I'd like to thank the many FBI personnel and local law enforcement agencies who work nonstop to bring this person to justice, to bring a sense of justice to the victims, and also a sense of security to the community of the San Jacinto County community. I mean, this is basically what we do. You know, we show up, we bring the adequate resources, and then we don't let up. We've always said it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when the suspects can be caught, and we're extremely glad that today is the when. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to the U.S. Marshal Service representative.
Good evening. My name is Joe Ruiz de Chavez. I'm the Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal. I oversee the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders and Fugitive Task Force here in Houston, Texas. First, I want to say that this was an atrocious crime that devastated this community and this country. We received a call for request from Sheriff Capers, and we brought expertise in fugitive investigations and personnel to assist in this investigation. The Marshal Service is the oldest federal law enforcement agency, and we have an expertise in hunting fugitives. This is a very sad time for the victims, and I hope that this will bring them some comfort, and they could grieve. Thank you.
We'll open up for questions now.
Can you tell us if Oropesa had any help from anybody? Can you tell us if Oropesa had help from family members or any other friends in the area to help him hide for the last 4 days?
I can say that we've contacted many families, associates, not only here in the Houston area, but across the country.
Question for the sheriff, please. Had help over the last 4 days?
I can't comment on that.
And did he ever reach out to any family members after the shooting incident on Friday night?
I can't comment on that.
Who do they have detained at the scene? The female detained at the scene. Who was that?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation. We can't disclose that.
Sheriff Capers, you had mentioned previously that there were multiple occasions, you weren't exactly sure how many, of police being called to that property for a firearm being discharged. Then we learned that Oropesa was removed from the country 4 times, and then in 2022, a protective order that was filed by his wife for domestic abuse. At any point, did that prompt further investigation from your office?
Yes, sir. We actually filed charges on him in 2022, and it, to the best of my knowledge, we got a warrant for him, and the constable went to serve him in another county because he left here, and never could make contact with the subject. Then a few days later, the victim went to the district attorney's office in our county and filed a non-prosecution statement.
There was no follow-up?
The address where this arrest took place, have court documents that show it traces back to Manhunt Ends. Is that still the case? That this would be a home of a family member? Can anybody confirm that?
I can't. I mean, it's still ongoing. The investigation part, I wasn't part of the arrest team.
Do you have any idea how he got from the place where the shooting happened to Cutting? Did he use a vehicle? Did he walk? Do you guys have any idea what the time was?
Once again, not that I know of. I have no knowledge of it. They were part of that team, I do believe. Yes, ma'am. And to my knowledge, she is still there because the officers are still there. I have no direct knowledge because this all happened within the last couple of hours. But she is still there.
We know that.
The money will be going to the person that called in the tip through the proper channels. Yes, ma'am. I'm thinking it's still $80,000.
We know that he's been in this country since 2016 illegally, meaning our peso. The question is, and he had an AR-15 rifle that he was shooting the night of this incident. Have you been able to connect the dots as to how an illegal alien was able to purchase or to get that AR-15 weapon?
Well, I could just speak to conjecture. Buy it from somebody else on the street.
Are you conducting an investigation to try to connect those dots?
Yes, sir, we are. That is an ongoing investigation as well.
When did you learn about the suspect was at this address, and when did you unfortunately go away? What was the time?
For tonight's arrest?
Well, yeah, when did you first learn that he was there, and then when did you actually go in?
We would probably need to defer that to the FBI or the U.S. Marshals.
We received the tip at 5:15. Sorry about that. We received the tip at 5:15 p.m. and the arrest was made at 6:30 p.m.
Can any of the participating agencies discuss how surprised were you that you ended up finding Oropesa 15 miles away or less from where this crime was committed?
I can't really speak on that. I can just tell you that we're just extremely happy that the citizen had the courage and the bravery to call in that tip.
Had you guys searched that area before you got the tip, or
I'm not sure if it was searched before, but we immediately dispatched the team out there as soon as we got the tip.
Where take 3 more questions.
As far as we know, this was just a one-time random tip, but we've contacted multiple houses and families throughout the area.
What is contacting you? Have you gone in? Did you search these homes?
Right, we have.
There laundry piles and other families?
We've done knock and talks with multiple homes throughout the area, and we've gotten consent from the homeowners to go in and take a look. So we've done those kind of actions. Yeah.
2 more questions.
No, ma'am, nobody else is in custody tonight, and I'm assuming that they are still at the house questioning the people that were at the house where the suspect was arrested.
Sheriff, how long did it take to respond?
As far as we know, we do not know anybody else that was injured.
Yes, sir.
Just any formal criminal charges filed? Do you know what those are yet?
Murder.
5 counts?
5 counts of murder. $5 million bond.
Not capital murder?
No, sir.
Sheriff,
Not at this time.
There is a video in social media, is correct, Francisco Oropesa?
Say it one more time.
There is a video in social media. Is the correct video? The correspondent Francisco Oropesa?
I haven't had time to visit social media.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to clarify. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you guys very much. Guys, I'm going to clarify some of the spellings and answer some of the roundup questions here. I know that there are questions very quickly about the speakers that just were up here. Again, San Jacinto County Sheriff Greg Capers, FBI Assistant Special Agent in Charge Jimmy Paul, Paul, as well as Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal Joe Ruiz de Chavez, Ruiz space DE space CHAVEZ. Now, I know that there are a few questions outstanding. Were there any others that were left out?
How long did it take for them to actually respond? There's been a lot of conjecture about the amount of time for police response, specifically from the family members who lost loved ones. It said they were calling 911.
You're talking to the initial shooting?
Yes.
So that is still under investigation. That's part of the ongoing. Investigation into this. But the sheriff will be releasing something later, I believe. But at this point in time, that's part of the ongoing investigation.
Are you commenting of the murder weapon?
I'm sorry.
Was the murder weapon in this case recovered? Do you guys have the actual gun that they believe was used?
At this point in time, this is very fresh, right? We just got him into custody. This is ongoing. So a lot of the questions that you guys had, they're great questions, but it's ongoing. Yes, I would actually like to clarify. Someone asked about BORTAC, so I would like to clarify. This obviously was a lot of different agencies helping out. San Jacinto Sheriff's Office were the lead agency. FBI assisted. The 3 agencies that went into that house were the United States Marshal Service, Texas DPS, as well as the United States Border Patrol BORTAC team. Those 3 elite agencies were the ones who brought this fugitive into custody. It's a shortening of I believe, Border Patrol Tactical Team, but BORTAC, BORTAC, but please check with their website. Border Patrol, DPS, and Marshals, yep. Texas DPS. Rangers are a part of DPS, so. I'm unsure of that, and that's probably the last question I'm going to take tonight, guys. Again, thank you all so much for coming out. I'll be over here for a while, but thank you very much.
Manhunt coming to an end tonight for a fugitive. He's accused of gunning down 5 of his neighbors, execution style, killing them with an AR-15 after they asked him to stop firing the weapon outside in the yard. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger with how law enforcement finally tracked him down. Josh.
Well, Bill, the search for the shooter involved more than 200 officers and continued around the clock for days. And in the end, he was just miles away, hiding under a pile of laundry. We're going to show you now brand new video of 38-year-old Francisco Oropesa in the front seat of that government SUV. after his arrest in a tiny Texas town called Cut and Shoot. Oropesa did not put up a fight when a task force of federal agents led by the U.S. Marshals stormed into the home where he'd been hiding out. He's wanted in the massacre of these 5 people, including a mother and her 9-year-old son, at a neighbor's house this past Friday. A rampage that unfolded when someone asked Oropesa to stop shooting his AR-15 in a yard because a newborn was trying to sleep. But the enraged shooter then allegedly burst into that house, killing 5 of the 10 people inside. The trail seemed to go cold despite a $100,000 reward, but this evening the FBI got a call on its tip line, and just over an hour later, he was in custody.
The Marshal Service is the oldest federal law enforcement agency, and we have an expertise in hunting fugitives. This is a very sad time for the victims, and I hope that this will bring them some comfort and they could grieve.
This is basically what we do. We show up, we bring the adequate resources, and then we don't let up. We always said it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when the suspects can be caught, and we're extremely glad that today was the when.
Oropesa had been deported 4 times before this incident took place. It's not clear how he got the AR-15. Investigators would not confirm reports he'd been hiding out with a family member. Tonight he's in custody facing 5 counts of murder, the local sheriff promising he will live out his life behind bars.
Please keep all involved in your prayers. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments below. And be nice, or a frog you will become. Damn it. If you like the video, like, subscribe, and hit that bell to receive notifications of when we upload a new video. Also check out our merch at lling.com.